Week 5 to 6, Logistic Regression for Classification. Welcome. This week we explore logistic regression for classification problems. Logistic regression predicts categories, like, will a phone customer churn? We use the telecom customer churn dataset. Let us dive in. Running the cell now. What types of problems use classification? Can you name one from daily life? We will turn off any warning messages in Python to keep the output clean. This line imports the warnings module and then disables all warnings from being shown. Import numpy as np. We set the random seed to 42 for reproducibility. Running the cell now. This snippet sets up a clean and reproducible environment by suppressing warnings and fixing the random seed. While no output is shown, these steps ensure consistent results in our upcoming logistic regression models, helping us focus on the meaningful patterns in the telecom customer churn data. Let us load the dataset we will use, telecom customer churn. We use pandas, which helps us work with tables of data. We get the data from a public IBM link. Now we read the data into a pandas data frame named df. We print the shape of the data frame to see the number of rows and columns. We print the first 3 rows of the data frame to preview the data. Running the cell now. This output shows the dataset loaded for our churn prediction task, with 7,043 customers and 21 columns capturing demographic, service, and billing information. Notice the mix of categorical and numerical features, including our target variable churn, which we will predict using logistic regression. Understanding the data structure and key columns helps us prepare for feature selection and model building ahead. Try loading a dataset and printing out its shape on your own. See what you notice. What is logistic regression? Logistic regression helps us predict a category. It is great for problems like, is a customer likely to leave, churn, or stay? The model gives us probabilities and predicts yes or no. Running the cell now. Here we check how many customers left compared to how many stayed. This is called a class balance. It is important for fair predictions. Running the cell now. Here we see the distribution of our target variable, churn, showing that most customers, 5174, did not leave, while 1869 did. This imbalance is important because it helps us understand the baseline and sets expectations for our logistic regression model's predictions. Noticing this tells us the model must carefully learn patterns that distinguish the smaller yes group from the larger no group. Try counting categories on any dataset you know. We first check if our dataset contains any missing data. This code lists the columns with the most missing values to identify data gaps. Running the cell now. This output shows that there are no missing values in the top 5 columns of our dataset, which is important for building a reliable logistic regression model. Ensuring complete data helps the model accurately learn patterns to predict customer churn without biases or errors caused by missing information. Columns in a table can be numbers or text. Knowing the type for each column helps us plan cleaning steps. Running the cell now. This output shows the data types of key columns in our dataset, revealing a mix of categorical, object, and numerical, int64, features. Noticing these types helps us decide which columns may need encoding before using logistic regression, since the model requires numerical inputs to predict customer churn effectively. Have you seen different types of data in a spreadsheet? Name a few. Sometimes columns look like numbers, but are saved as text. We convert total charges to numbers and fill any missing spots with the median. Filling with the median means using the typical value to avoid bias. Running the cell now. Here, we clean the total charges column by converting it to numeric values and replacing missing entries with the median. This pre-processing step is crucial because logistic regression requires numerical inputs without gaps to accurately learn patterns that predict customer churn. Ensuring clean, numeric data helps the model generate reliable probability predictions. Why might we choose the median instead of the average? Think of outliers. This gives us a summary of our numeric columns. We see the count, mean, values in the middle, and ranges. Running the cell now. This summary shows key statistics for numeric columns like tenure and monthly charges, revealing data ranges and averages to understand customer behavior. Notice the senior citizen column is binary with a mean around 0.16, indicating about 16% are seniors, which may influence churn risk. These insights help us select and scale features before training our logistic regression to predict customer churn. Convert the churn column from text labels to numerical values, yes to 1 and the no's to 0. Replace yes and no in a churn with 1 and 0 respectively so the model can interpret them. Convert a gender values from a male and female into numbers 1 and 0 for modeling. Running the cell now. In this step, we've transformed categorical text data into numerical form, converting churn from yes/no to 1-0 and gender from male/female to 1-0. This is crucial because logistic regression requires numeric inputs to calculate probabilities and make predictions. Notice how this prepares the dataset for modeling customer churn effectively. Try mapping text to numbers in a small list. Practice helps. When building a model, we pick columns that may help predict our answer. These are called features. We pick tenure, monthly and total charges, and gender in this example. The answer we want to predict is churn, which we call Y. Running the cell now. Here, we select key features, tenure, monthly charges, total charges, and gender, to use as inputs for our logistic regression model, while the churn is our target variable. This step sets up the data structure needed to predict whether a customer is likely to leave, connecting the chosen predictors with the binary outcome we want to model. We split our data into two groups, one to teach the model, and one to test it. The model learns from most of the data but is checked with data it has not seen before. This gives us a fair look at accuracy. Running the cell now. This code splits the data into training and test sets, reserving 20% for testing. Notice how this step ensures our logistic regression model will be trained on one portion of the data and evaluated on unseen examples, which is crucial for assessing its ability to predict categories like customer churn accurately. This separation is foundational before fitting the model and making predictions. Why do we save a test set that the model cannot see when training? This comment explains that we are creating and training a logistic regression model. We import the logistic regression class from sklearn.linear_model to build our model. Here, we create an instance of logistic regression with specific parameters to configure training. We train the model using the training data, so it learns to predict the target. Running the cell now. This output confirms that the logistic regression model was successfully created with the specified settings, a maximum of 200 iterations and using the liblinear solver. This step is key as it establishes the foundation for predicting categories, like whether a customer will churn, by fitting the model to our training data. Which other real-world situations do you think can be predicted with two possible answers? We ask our trained model to make predictions on new data. We generate predictions for the test set features using the model's predict method. We display the first 10 predicted values to see the results. Running the cell now. Here, the model predicts the first 10 customers as either likely to churn, 1, or not churn, 0. Notice most predictions are 0, indicating the model expects most customers to stay. This output shows how logistic regression translates probabilities into clear yes/no predictions for churn. We start by indicating that we are about to evaluate the model's accuracy. We import the accuracy_score function from scikit-learn to measure accuracy. We calculate the accuracy by comparing our predicted values to the true test labels. Finally, we print out the accuracy score so we can see our model's performance. Running the cell now. The output shows an accuracy of about 79%, indicating the logistic regression model correctly predicted customer churn nearly 8 out of 10 times on the test data. This highlights the model's effectiveness in classifying whether a customer will leave or stay, reinforcing the value of logistic regression for binary prediction problems. Try changing the features and see if accuracy changes. This line is a comment explaining that the next code shows model probabilities. We use the model to predict the probability of each test example belonging to the target classes. We print the first 5 predicted probability arrays to understand the model's confidence. Running the cell now. Here we see the first 5 rows of predicted probabilities from the logistic regression model, each showing the likelihood of the 2 classes, e.g., stay versus leave. Notice how the values in each row sum to 1, reflecting the model's confidence in assigning a sample to either category. This output helps us understand how the model differentiates between classes before making a final yes-no prediction. Explain what a probability between 0 and 1 means, using an example from daily life. We will visualize the results by plotting a confusion matrix. We import the matplotlib library for plotting. We import confusion matrix display from Sclern to create the confusion matrix plot. We create a figure and axis object for the plot with a specified size. We generate the confusion matrix plot using the model's predictions on the test data. We set the title of the plot to indicate this is a churn prediction confusion matrix. We display the plot on the screen. Running the cell now. The confusion matrix shows how well our logistic regression model predicts customer churn by comparing actual versus predicted categories. Notice the counts in the 4 boxes. True positives and true negatives indicate correct predictions, while false positives and false negatives highlight errors. This visualization helps us understand the model's accuracy and where it might be confusing customers likely to stay or leave. Try it yourself. Practice predicting with new values. Can you make a prediction for a new customer with the model? What values would you use? Running the cell now. This is a comment prompting you to input an example and predict churn. Prompting the user to enter the number of months the customer has been with the company, tenure. Reading the user input and converting it to an integer for tenure. Prompting the user to enter the customer's monthly charges. Reading the user input and converting it to a float for monthly charges. Prompting the user to enter the customer's total charges. Reading the user input and converting it to a float for total charges. Prompting the user to enter the customer's gender as 1 for male or 0 for female. Reading the user input and converting it to an integer for gender. Creating a sample input list from the collected values to feed into the model. Using the model to predict whether the customer will churn based on the input sample. Printing out the prediction result, indicating if the customer is predicted to churn 1 or not 0. Running the cell now. This output shows the result of using the trained model to predict whether a new customer will churn, based on user input values for tenure, monthly charges, total charges, and gender. Notice that the prediction 0 indicates the model expects this customer to stay, which aligns with the input features provided. This exercise demonstrates how to apply the model practically, making it interactive and reinforcing understanding of how input features affect churn predictions. Like what you are learning? Hit like and subscribe so you do not miss our next lesson. Recap and what is next. This week, you learn to clean data, choose features, train and test a logistic regression model, and interpret results. Practice makes perfect. Experiment with other datasets and try different features. Next, more on classification models and fine-tuning your results. Running the cell now. What part did you find most interesting today? Share with a friend. Challenge: change the features. Try changing which columns are used as features. See if your predictions and model accuracy change. Optional: use a different dataset and compare results. Thank you for learning with us. To keep going, subscribe and join our next lesson. Running the cell now.